everybody, my Buffalo buddies. This is Billy Sheehan, your bass player, and you're listening to me right here on Heard It on the X.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to the East Coast premier music talk show, Heard It on the X. My name is Rich Rogan-Moser. Remember, everybody, the concert that never was, featuring Zoso, September 30th at Club Paradise to benefit JDRF. I also want to thank the sponsors of the show, Mackie, Ampeg, Ernie Ball, and Regal Tip, who have been very, very good to us. I want to thank Nicki Minaj for giving us a lot to talk about in that last bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
we
good.
could do 3 more segments on Nicki Minaj and her nipple.
Even though we've covered it on the show, I want to do more research on this.
Okay.
So
keep doing the research.
Maybe later when we go
home.
Out. So anyways, we go to the Outer Harbor Fest, and they had a lot of different tribute acts that came in. Mm-hmm. And we seen these guys, the Atomic Punks, and they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal.
You were really hyped up to go check them out.
I specifically wanted to go see them because they're like this legendary tribute act, and they're a lot of fun. Van Halen music is a lot of fun, and they're obviously huge fans of Van Halen, and they do such a great job. I mean, they were just a really fun band. I thought it was done really, really well. And right now we're being joined by Brian Gellar. Brian, are you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here. What's happening?
Hey, dude. And Brian plays David Lee Roth in it amazingly.
Yeah, you were saying he sounds exactly like him. And I checked out videos, too. I wasn't able to make it, which I really wanted to check these guys out. But I saw the videos, and you sound exactly like David.
Oh, thanks, man. I think it's good, but, maybe we can call it a curse, too. It's good, it's bad, but,
I would bet that it is a curse in certain ways.
I love Van Halen, and what better music to pay tribute to, right?
That's right. I bet I can see your point of view, though, that part of it would be a curse because it's got to be hard for you to forward your own agenda when people expect you to be forwarding someone else's. Is that am I on the right track there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for me, I got into it a little bit differently. The Atomic Punks, have a tradition of some great musicians that have come forward through the band. I mean, David Lee Roth has pulled the first 2 guitar players out of our band, kind of like it's were their own David Lee Roth's own minor league team.
Right.
So, for me, when I joined the band, I joined the band as just a fan of Van Halen, and for me, it was just I love Van Halen. I know what Diamond Dave's all about. The whole question for me was, could I sing? I mean, I knew all the little innuendos that Diamond Dave does in and out of the songs. It was, could I sing? So I think I came from a different approach to the whole thing. Whereas your traditional singers that sing beautifully and elegantly and wonderfully and all that good stuff, they can sing real nice, but they don't have that gruff Diamond Dave party flavor that I think I bring as more of a fan as the band. Does that make any sense?
It does, but let me ask you a question. So you weren't a singer prior to this?
No. Can you believe it?
Really? That's insane, bro.
I actually, true story, about 8 years ago, I was married at the time, and was been a big Van Halen fan my whole life. And my wife at the time took me to a House of Blues show here in California, and it was the Atomic Punks were playing, and I had never heard of tribute bands at that time, and we walk into this place, had a nice dinner, and, we've been having some cocktails, feeling really good, and the Atomic Punks hit the stage, and I about died. I couldn't believe how good it was. I couldn't believe how good the singer was. I was like, these guys are better than the 7 times I've seen Van Halen, live with David Lee Roth. So that night just sparked something in me I didn't know I had, and I literally walked out of that place and said to everybody that was with me that night, I go, you know what, I'm going to do that. I go, I know David Lee Roth just as good as anybody, and they're like, well, it kind of helps if you've sung before. I'm like, well, maybe I can do it. So at the age of 35, I took vocal lessons and went down that whole road and formed my own Van Halen tribute band and kind of did it for about 5-6 years, and then the Atomic Punks called me about 1.5 years ago. So I've kind of come full circle. I'm in the band that got me
into it. That's a great story, man. That's
kind of cool.
It's funny because everybody has a different musical journey, and that musical journey that you just shared with us and the listeners is a little different. That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, the guy, Joe and Scott and Lance, who are in the Atomic Punks with me. I mean, these guys are all seasoned professional musicians that actually made a run at doing this professionally with their own original music and put their time in for years and years and years. And so they kind of come at it with a completely different aspect than me, who was just like, man, I just love Van Halen.
Yeah.
You know,
we've had the band Zoso on before, and we've talked to those guys, and that was their course that they took. In the early 90s, they were trying to get signed, and every time they went somewhere, they said, you guys should really do a Zeppelin tribute. You sound a lot like Zeppelin, So finally they said, forget it, at least we can make some money doing this. And, and I think a lot of these tribute acts end up that way. So let me ask you this. You're in basically the beginning parts of your musical journey, which it's awesome that you're playing with this band. Is there any, in the future, thoughts of writing your own stuff or trying to do your own stuff, or doesn't even interest you?
Not really. I mean, for me, I'm 43 years old. I've been married twice. I've got 2 boys. When I had the success with the band, I was able to leave my corporate job at Mattel Toys in LA and go back to school and get a college education, get my degree, get my teaching credentials. So my goal right now is just to keep rocking, playing Van Halen music as long as people want to check it out and want to see it. And let's face it, music today is horrible, so I anticipate people wanting to see the Van Halen music for as long as I want to do it. And then when people don't want to see it or I'm burned out on doing it, then, I'll just continue teaching kids and enjoy life.
Yeah, and a lot of people love coming to see it, and you guys get a lot of great reviews from, even the members of Van Halen. You guys have really been embraced by the actual, guys from Van Halen. That's got to just mean a ton to you.
Yeah, it really means a lot. It's Michael Anthony has joined the Atomic Punks 3 different times on stage before I was actually in the band. And then I actually had an opportunity about 4 years ago to where the Van Halen band I was in, we got a call from Sammy's management people, Sammy Hagar, and we went out and played a Cabo Village before one of his shows. And Sammy walked down, saw the show, and then actually brought me up on stage that night. And Michael Anthony happened to be there, so I actually got to do a song with Sammy.
I've seen that video. So that is you in that video. I've seen that video.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was like, and at that point, I'd only been doing this probably like 4 years. So to be able to do that and do that on the big boy stage, in front of all those people, it was. It was an amazing moment. When tribute bands get lucky enough to play with a real artist, usually it's on the tribute band artist stage, in a club or whatever.
Right.
So for me to actually get to do that and be invited and hang out with those guys was like, it was a dream come true. You can't beat it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And like I say, it's a great story. I'm glad you shared the whole story with us. How many shows a year do you guys do?
We probably do 50 to 60 shows a year.
Yeah, so you guys are working a lot.
Yeah, we're working a lot. We did, last weekend we played in Cuyahoga Falls and then went in Ohio and then went down to Warren and then shot up to see you guys in Buffalo, went to Niagara Falls that night, left Niagara Falls, drove back to Cleveland, and then caught an 8 o'clock flight the next morning and went back to L.A. to real life for Monday.
Wow. Well, dude, I think that your story's fantastic, and if you don't mind us checking in with you every once in a while just to see what you guys are up to, we'd love to have you on again. I think the band is phenomenal. I think you do such a great job. Anybody that gets a chance to see it, the Atomic Punks is just fantastic. Is the website atomicpunks.com?
Yeah, that's right. It's just www.theatomicpunks.com. You can also go on Facebook with the rest of the world. We're on there, too, and you can check it out. We'll be your friends and, all that good stuff. So, we had a really good time in Buffalo, and you guys are all really kind. I appreciate you having me on the air and everything.
No problem.
Like I said, anytime you guys want to talk Van Halen, I'm your guy. I'll talk with you all day long about it.
It's funny because we've had Michael Anthony on the show. We've had Chris Cannella, who's Eddie's right-hand man over at EVH Gear.
Right.
In January, I'll be at the NAMM show, and I own a music store on top of the show here, so I'm a big EVH
right on.
dealer. I'm one of the bigger EVH dealers in the country, so we get to hang with Eddie there. But it's yeah, I mean, how can you not love Van Halen music? And let me ask you a question. Did you read Sammy's book? Because we had Joel Selvin we had the author on the show the day that it won number one bestseller.
Oh, come on, man. You know me. I mean, of course I read all that stuff.
What is your take on the book?
First in line to get that book. I read it. I like the book. Here was my problem with the Red Rocker book. They gave you the cheater chapter in Rolling Stone, which I read. I wish I wouldn't have read. And pretty much everything else, I'm like, God, this is stuff I've just kind of heard. I wish there would have been a little bit more juicier stuff. So
really? You want to know my take on it? And you can tell me if you think I'm wrong on this. I think the Eddie stuff was out there already. The David Lee Roth stuff, the disagreements within the band, a lot of that stuff, I agree with you, was totally out there. The part that I thought that he should have left it alone is the Alex Van Halen stuff, because Alex had really done a great job of hiding any problems that he had from the outside world. He had gotten clean and sober, and in my opinion, I felt that was Alex's story to tell. You know what I mean?
I agree with you on that. And it's just, it's like one of those debates. It's which era do you like better? And all that. And people ask me all the time. Last time we were up in Seattle doing a show, and I talked to a guy last night about it. And I've got a Van Hagar tattoo on my arm, and I play David Lee Roth. How wrong is that? Is it really wrong? It's to me. It's two different bands. You've got classic Van Halen, and you've got Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. It was just a completely different band. And I'll tell you what, don't tell anybody this, but my all-time favorite Van Halen show was the show I saw them do with Gary Cherone, because when they did that show and that tour with Gary Cherone, they did Unchained, they did I'm the One,
yep.
They did Somebody Get Me a Doctor. They didn't do that on any of the tours I saw with Dave, and they didn't do them with Sammy. So, it's just, do we have to pick a certain type of music and have a favorite? Can't we like more than one different thing?
Right. No, I agree with you. You're not the only.
I love the Sammy stuff. I love it. Obviously, I love the Dave stuff. I will even throw in. I love the Gary Cherone album that they did too.
Yeah, you're just a huge fan, is what it comes down to. But you're not the only person that has told me that Gary. I did not see that show. That Gary Cherone show was everyone's favorite. That's like a hardcore Van Halen fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, and they let Eddie let Michael Anthony sing "Somebody Get Me a Doctor" that night. I mean, just for that, it was such a total treat.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. We have to head to a commercial break, and brother, we're going to be checking in with you real soon. We'll do a show and talk about Van Halen.
Definitely, anytime, man. Let me know. I'd love to do it.
All right, and safe travel to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, brother. Take care of yourself.
All right. That was Brian from
the Atomic
Punks. We're going to head to a commercial break. Join us on the other side of the commercial break for more Heard It on the X. He's